Welcome. Today we journey to 15th century France, a land torn by war and shaped by legendary figures. Among them stands Gilles de Rais, once a nobleman, war hero, and companion to Joan of Arc, later infamous for crimes that would shock the world. His early life was marked by privilege, valor, and immense wealth, destined for glory in the annals of France. Yet beneath this noble facade, a far darker story was unfolding, one that would forever stain his legacy. Gilles de Rais became one of history's most notorious criminal figures. His case, a chilling dichotomy hero turned alleged monster. Join me as we uncover the disturbing rise and fall of Gilles de Rais. Born around 1404 into the powerful house of Montmorency-Laval, Gilles de Rais inherited vast estates and wealth after being orphaned as a child. Raised by his ambitious grandfather, Jean de Craon, Gilles' upbringing was steeped in privilege and expectation. A strategic marriage to Catherine de Thouars further increased his fortune and influence. Gilles' early life was defined by opulence, education in chivalry, and preparation for military command. The ongoing 100 Years' War offered him the perfect stage to prove himself. Using his wealth, he raised and equipped his own troops, quickly gaining attention at court. His military career began with promise, marked by bravery, leadership, and a reputation for both valor and extravagance. Gilles navigated the complex politics of the Valois court, his lavish lifestyle and patronage of the arts setting him apart. He cultivated an image of a devout, chivalrous knight, supporting religious institutions and upholding noble ideals. By his 20s, Gilles was a formidable figure, wealthy, well-connected, and respected for his martial skills. His rise seemed unstoppable, his reputation unblemished. Yet beneath the surface, the seeds of his later downfall were already being sown. The very privileges and power that elevated him would soon become the instruments of his ruin. Few could have foreseen the darkness that would engulf his legacy. Gilles de Rais' early years were a study in the heights of nobility and the fragility of reputation. His story was about to take a turn that would shock even the most hardened of his contemporaries. The stage was set for a descent from glory to infamy. Gilles de Rais' greatest acclaim came as a companion to Joan of Arc during the 100 Years' War. He joined her at a moment when France was desperate for hope, and together they helped turn the tide at the Siege of Orléans in 1429. Gilles commanded troops with distinction, his bravery amplified by his association with Joan's miraculous rise. Their victories led to the coronation of Charles VII, with Gilles honored as Marshal of France, a rare distinction for someone so young. His reputation soared. He was seen as a national hero, his name spoken with admiration. Even as Joan's fortunes waned and she was ultimately executed, Gilles' status remained largely intact. The contrast between his celebrated heroism and the darkness to come would later haunt the public imagination. How could a man who stood beside a saint become a symbol of horror? This paradox lies at the heart of Gilles de Rais' enduring enigma. His early heroism, forever linked to Joan of Arc, would make his later fall all the more shocking. The memory of his valor would be overshadowed by accusations that defied comprehension. Gilles' transformation from savior to suspect would become one of history's most disturbing reversals. The seeds of tragedy were sown in the very fields where he once fought for France's salvation. His story is a stark reminder. Even the brightest heroes can cast the darkest shadows. The legacy of Gilles de Rais would soon be rewritten in blood and infamy. After his military triumphs, Gilles de Rais retreated to his estates, indulging in extravagance and reckless spending. His fortune dwindled, prompting concern and legal action from his family. Amidst financial decline, disturbing rumors began to circulate. Children were disappearing near his castles. At first, these whispers were dismissed as gossip, but as more children vanished, fear spread through the countryside. The accusations grew. Gilles was suspected of abducting and abusing and murdering children. The horror of these claims shattered the image of the noble protector, replacing it with that of a predator. The public's shock was profound. The betrayal of trust by a celebrated hero was almost unthinkable. As the rumors intensified, authorities could no longer ignore them. The case against Gilles de Rais became a national scandal, challenging the very foundations of nobility and justice. The transition from hero to accused monster was swift and terrifying. The stage was set for a trial that would captivate and horrify an entire kingdom. The darkness attributed to Gilles was about to be exposed in the harsh light of judicial inquiry. His fall from grace was not just personal, but a rupture in the social fabric of medieval France. The nation braced itself for revelations that would forever alter its history. Gilles de Rais' name would soon become synonymous with unspeakable evil. The gravity of the accusations against Gilles de Rais led to an unprecedented dual trial, one in the secular courts of Brittany, The other in the church's ecclesiastical court. The secular court focused on the abduction and murder of children, relying on testimonies from Gilles' own servants and accomplices. The church pursued charges of heresy, sorcery, and sacrilege, seeking to determine if Gilles had strayed into forbidden practices. Facing both courts, Gilles initially tried to assert his noble privileges, but the mounting evidence and threat of excommunication broke his resistance. Under pressure, and possibly torture, Gilles confessed to the crimes. Though the validity of this confession remains debated, the spectacle of a Marshal of France on trial for such heinous acts shocked the nation. The dual proceedings underscored the seriousness of the charges, crimes against both man and God. A guilty verdict in either court would be devastating. Condemnation in both was inescapable. The trials revealed the limits of privilege and the reach of justice, even for the highest born. Gilles' fate was sealed by the combined weight of secular and spiritual authority. The proceedings became a grim lesson in the consequences of unchecked power and moral collapse. The verdict would mark the end of a once glorious life, and the beginning of a legend steeped in horror. The world watched as a hero was unmade before their eyes. Gilles de Rais was found guilty and sentenced to death by both secular and ecclesiastical courts. His execution, by hanging and burning, was carried out before a large crowd, a spectacle meant to serve as a warning. In his final moments, Gilles displayed public contrition, asking for prayers and expressing remorse. His body was granted a Christian burial, a small mercy amid the brutality of his alleged crimes. The execution marked the dramatic end of a man once celebrated as a national hero. Yet, the story did not end there. In the centuries since, historians have questioned the fairness of his trial and the legitimacy of the charges. Was Gilles a monstrous serial killer or a victim of political intrigue and financial ruin? The use of torture to extract confessions, the lack of concrete evidence, and the political motivations of his accusers cast long shadows of doubt. Some argue the scale of his alleged crimes strains belief. Others see him as a prototype of the modern serial killer. The truth remains elusive, shrouded in the complexities of medieval justice and the passage of time. Gilles de Rais' case continues to fascinate and disturb, a dark mirror reflecting the anxieties and beliefs of his age. His legacy is a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the fragility of reputation. The debate over his guilt endures, ensuring his story remains a subject of both horror and historical inquiry. The echoes of his life and crimes still haunt the corridors of history. The story of Gilles de Rais is a stark warning about the dangers of unchecked power and privilege. His rise and fall illustrate how authority, when combined with personal flaws, can lead to catastrophic corruption. The very castles meant to protect became sites of horror, his wealth used to silence and destroy. His position shielded him for years, allowing alleged crimes to go unpunished until they became impossible to ignore. The accusations of alchemy and demonology reflect the era's fears, and the ways power can warp ambition. The trial itself was a display of the complexities of medieval justice and the interplay of secular and religious authority. Gilles' legacy is deeply unsettling. A hero turned villain, a cautionary tale for generations. He is remembered as both a companion of Joan of Arc and one of history's earliest serial killers. The debate over his guilt and the fairness of his trial adds to his mystique. If guilty, his story is a warning about human depravity. If not, it's a lesson in the dangers of political power. Gilles de Rais remains a dark monument to the potential for evil within the highest echelons of society. His fall from grace is a reminder that even the greatest heroes are not immune to moral collapse. The shadow he cast endures, a testament to the enduring power of history's darkest tales. Gilles de Rais' life, from war hero to condemned murderer, continues to haunt history. The contrast between his early valor and later infamy captivates and disturbs us centuries later. His trial and execution raise enduring questions about justice, power, and the nature of evil. Was he truly the monster of legend or a victim of his time and circumstance? The debate ensures his story remains alive. Gilles de Rais stands as a somber reminder, even the brightest reputations can be eclipsed by darkness.